Last week, we talked about the tactical pause. That was your personal tool, the pause between stimulus and response. That pause gives you a chance to stop, breathe, think, and then choose your next move instead of just reacting. But here's the thing about leadership. It doesn't stop with you. Because once you become a supervisor, your stress does not stay private anymore. Your anxiety walks into roll call with you. Your frustration comes out in your tone, and your urgency shows up in your body language before you even say a single word. But so does your calm. This is the part we don't talk about enough. As a supervisor, you're not just responsible for calls and reports and schedules and complaints and policies and performance reviews. You're also responsible for the emotional climate of your team. You are setting the weather. And today, we're going to talk about how you do that on purpose.
This is Blue Leader Nation. Blue Leader Nation. We're here to develop those men and women in law enforcement who want to be respected leaders and to mold you into becoming a legendary leader. If it's leadership, personal growth, and self-development, we're talking about it. Whether you're new or a veteran, you've found your new home. This is the Blue Leader Nation. Now, here's your host, Dr. Ed Pallas.
Welcome to Blue Leader Nation. I'm Ed Pallas, and this is the show for law enforcement leaders who are serious about getting better at leading people. Before we get into it, I have a couple of public service announcements. Look, it's summertime and hot weather. If you have pets, a veterinarian won't tell you this, but if your dog is running a fever, go to the store, buy some mustard. Yep, it's the best thing to put on a hot dog. In other news, the inventor of the spell check has died. His funeral is tomato. All right, let's get into it. Last week was about the tactical pause in leading the person in the mirror. We talked about what happens with your body under pressure. Heart rate goes up, breathing changes, thinking narrows. And if you're not careful, you stop leading from your values and start leading from your nervous system. The tactical pause is how you interrupt that, and it's a real skill, a real leadership tool. If you missed last week's episode, go back and grab it. Should be episode 17. It's the foundation for everything we're building today. Because here's the connection. If you cannot regulate yourself, you're going to have a very hard time regulating the room. And if you're a supervisor, your emotional state does not just affect you, it affects your people. Which brings us to the big idea for today. Why your mood does not stay yours. There's a term for what happens when emotions spread from one person to another. It's called emotional contagion. And the basic idea is this. People catch the emotions of the people around them. Researchers defined it as the tendency to automatically mimic and synchronize facial expressions, vocal tone, posture, and movement with another person. And as a result, begin converging emotionally. All right, let's put that into plain English. People pick up more from each other than words. They pick up emotional signals. That matters in leadership because your team is reading you all the time. They're reading your face and your tone and how fast you're talking. And they're reading your posture and whether you seem calm, irritated, rushed, dismissive, confident, and overwhelmed. And when you are the supervisor, those signals carry extra weight. Because under pressure, people look to leaders for cues. Is it manageable? Is this dangerous? Are we panicking? Does the boss have control of themselves? Does the boss have control of this room? the supervisor's emotional state becomes information. If the supervisor looks panicked, then the room reads danger. If the supervisor sounds irritated, the room gets defensive. If the supervisor looks checked out, the room disengages. If the supervisor is steady, clear, composed, the room has a better chance of becoming steady, clear, and composed. Here's the uncomfortable truth. As a supervisor, you are contagious. Your calm is contagious. Your panic is contagious. Your cynicism is contagious. But so is your confidence. Your confidence is contagious. So the leadership question is not, am I affecting the room? You are. Full stop. The real question is, am I affecting the room on purpose? Now, I want to give you a little science here, but I promise that this won't turn into a graduate seminar with sirens and total nerdiness. Nobody downloaded Blue Leader Nation today, hopefully, for homework. But a little science helps. So here it is. Researcher Sigal Barsade studied emotional contagion in groups and found that mood spreads among group members, and it influences cooperation, conflict, and task performance. So this is not just about feelings. The emotional tone of your team affects how your people actually work together. You may have heard of mirror neurons. If you've had one of my classes, you've definitely heard me say this. The basic idea is that certain neurons fire both when we perform an action and when we observe a similar action in someone else. Researchers have explored whether similar mirroring systems in humans help us read intention, emotion, and behavior in other people. Now, I'm going to say this carefully because the science here gets oversimplified a lot, I think. Mirror neurons are sometimes used to explain everything from empathy to leadership and why one person yawns and suddenly the whole briefing room looks like a sleep study. The research is more nuanced than that. Here's the leadership level takeaway, and this is what actually matters. Whether you're talking about emotional mimicry, stress physiology, body language, or plain old human awareness, the practical point is the same. Human beings are wired to read each other. And under pressure, your team is not just listening to your words, they're taking cues from your emotional state. Your people don't just hear what you say, they catch what you carry. Now, before somebody hears this and thinks I'm telling supervisors to just float into chaos, like they're leading a yoga retreat, let me be very clear about something. Calm does not mean casual. Calm does not mean soft or passive. Calm does not mean that you don't have any standards. Calm does not mean you avoid hard conversations. And calm definitely does not mean you whisper affirmations while the building is on fire. Calm means controlled. Calm means your emotional state serves the mission instead of hijacking the mission. You can be calm and direct. You can be calm and urgent. You can be calm and firm. You can be calm and hold people accountable. You can even say calmly, that is unacceptable. You can be calm and take command. In fact, some of the most effective leaders I have ever seen were not the loudest in the room. They were the steadiest. When everything around them started to come apart, their voice became an anchor. That's what we're going for. Let's get practical. 3 ways supervisors unintentionally raise the temperature of the room, and then 3 ways to bring it back down. All right, number 1, they walk in hot. They are already irritated before they say a word. They walk into roll call sharp. They answer the phone like the person calling has personally ruined their afternoon. You've heard it. What now? Or this had better be good. Or can one person in this place handle something without me? And look, every supervisor has had that moment. I've had that moment. But the difference is when it becomes the normal entrance, everything changes. The team learns not to bring you problems early. They learn to wait. They learn to manage your mood instead of managing the mission. And that's dangerous. All right, number 2, they communicate with emotional leakage. Emotional leakage is when your words say one thing, but your tone, your face, your body language, they say something else. You say, I'm fine, but your face says, everyone should evacuate the building. You say, go ahead, I'm listening, but your eyes are on your phone, your arms are crossed, and your foot is tapping like it's trying to send Morse code. Here's the thing about mismatches between words and body language. People trust the body language every time. All right, number 3. They fail to reset after stress. Supervisors had a bad call, a tough meeting, a complaint, an ugly email from command staff. And the next person that walks in gets the leftovers. They get the tone, the sarcasm, the impatience. They get the emotional shrapnel from whatever happened 10 minutes ago. One of the quiet tests of leadership is whether you make the next person pay for what the last situation did to you. Now, let's flip it. Number 1, control your entrance. Before you walk into roll call, the squad room, on a crime scene, or a difficult conversation, pause at the door, just take one breath, drop your shoulders, set your face, and ask yourself one question. What does this room, what does this person need from me right now? Does it need urgency, clarity, reassurance, or maybe accountability? Does it need me to stop talking and let someone explain what is happening? Your entrance is a leadership act, and your first sentence tells the room whether you're here to organize the problem or whether you're going to be a problem. Number 2, name reality without feeding panic. Your people do not need fake positivity. They do need honesty. But honesty and panic are not the same thing. Instead of, oh my God, this is a disaster, try something like this. This is a serious issue. We're going to slow down, identify what we know, and let's work the problem. Instead of, everybody is losing their mind, try something like this. We have a lot happening right now. Let's get organized. Language either organizes thinking or scrambles it. Your job is to organize thinking. Number 3, give the team the next right step. People calm down when they know what to do next. Under pressure, vague motivation is almost useless. Clear direction, that's everything. Everybody needs to get it together is not a plan. Here's what we're doing first, is a plan. Use a simple structure. Here's what we know. Here's what we do not know. Here's the priority. Here's your role. Here's when we reassess. Clarity is calming. Remember that. Here's a simple frame that puts all of this together. There are thermometer supervisors and there are thermostat supervisors. A thermometer reflects the temperature of the room. If the room is angry, they get angry. If the room is chaotic, they become chaotic. If the room is panicked, they panic right along with it. They match the room. A thermostat reads the temperature and then influences it. A thermostat supervisor does not ignore reality. They're not pretending the room is fine when it's not fine. They read the room and then they move the room. They bring clarity where confusion is. They bring calm where there's panic. They bring accountability where there's avoidance. And they bring perspective where there's drama. And here's a nuance that makes this useful instead of just catchy, because it is pretty catchy. The goal is not always to lower the temperature. Sometimes the team is too casual, too complacent. Cynicism has become the unofficial language. Sometimes the room needs energy or urgency, a reminder that standards still matter. The goal is to set the right temperature for the mission at hand. That's the difference between a thermometer and a thermostat. And that's the difference between reacting and leading. Imagine roll call after a controversial incident. The team is frustrated. Everybody has an opinion. Rumors, of course, are flying. People are talking over each other. A poor supervisor response sounds like this. All right, enough. I do not want to hear it. Just go do your freaking job. Now, that might shut down the room, but shutting down the room is not the same as regulating the room. You suppressed emotion without addressing the climate. And suppressed emotions do not go away. They go underground and they come back sideways. A better response sounds something like this. I know there's frustration in this room. I'm not dismissing that. We're going to talk about what we know and what we don't know and what our responsibilities are today. I need questions, not rumors. I need professionalism, not fuel in the fire. Let's go to work. Do you see what that does? It acknowledges the emotion. It sets a boundary and it redirects behavior. And it protects the mission. That is regulating the room. Now picture a chaotic scene. Radio traffic is heavy. Officers are talking all over each other. Information is coming in fast, not all of it accurate. Everyone wants to help and nobody knows who has command. A poor supervisor adds more noise. The supervisor starts talking faster, repeating commands, gets visibly irritated, starts correcting people over the air unnecessarily. Now the supervisor has become part of the chaos. A better supervisor response is slower, clearer, and more structured. Something like this. Hold the air unless you have an emergency. Unit 1, handle containment. Unit 2, confirm the last known direction. Unit 3, start medical. I have command. I'll give updates every 2 minutes unless something changes. Something like that. In chaos, the calmest, clear voice becomes the anchor. Not the loudest, the clearest. One more thing before the tool. You cannot wait until the crisis to become the calming presence. Your team's emotional climate is built before the bad day. If the team only hears from you when something is wrong, they're going to associate you, your leadership, with stress. If you are unpredictable on normal days, they're not going to fully trust you on hard days. If sarcasm is your default mode, do not be surprised when sarcasm becomes the team's unofficial language. If you dismiss small concerns, don't be surprised when people stop bringing you problems early. Trust is built in small moments before it is tested in big ones. So set the weather before the storm. Start your roll call with clarity, not chaos. Check in with people before they are struggling. Explain the why behind decisions when you can. Correct behavior privately when appropriate. Praise specifically when it is earned. Be consistent in your standards. Don't let cynicism become the team's unofficial language. The crisis reveals the climate you have already built. Build the right one before you need it. Okay, I want to give you a practical tool before we wrap up. I call it the weather check. 7 letters, because you know I like acronyms. I mean, you have read my book, right? All right, no pressure. 7 questions you run through before you walk into any high-stakes moment. Roll call, a crime scene, a briefing, a difficult conversation, any of it. I'm going to hit the highlights here on the podcast, but I want you to grab the full tool. There's a PDF in the show notes. It's a free download. Print it, laminate it, stick it in your squad car. I don't care. Stick it somewhere. Just use it. All right, let's roll through this quickly. Weather is watch the room before you open your mouth and read what you're walking into. Is the room anxious, flat, angry, overconfident, or maybe checked out? You can't set the temperature if you don't know what the temperature is that you're starting from. R is reset after the moment. This is the one most supervisors skip, and it's where leadership credibility is actually built or lost. After the call, after the briefing, after the hard conversation, ask yourself this: what needs to be repaired? Who needs a follow-up check-in? Do you owe somebody a clarification? Do you owe someone an apology, maybe for your tone? Do you need to recognize someone who handled the pressure well? The reset is not weakness. The reset is how you build a team that trusts you when things get hard again. The whole weather tool is fully built out in the show notes. Go get it. Here's your challenge for the week. Before you walk into roll call, squad room, a meeting, or a difficult conversation, pause and ask yourself one question. What emotional weather am I about to bring into this room? Then choose one behavior. Slow your voice. Relax your shoulders. Choose your first sentence deliberately. Name reality without panic. Give the next right step. Follow up after the moment. One thing, just pick one of those. That's all I'm asking. Small habits become leadership reputation. The goal is not to become emotionless. The goal is to become emotionally responsible. Here's the summary before we go. Today, we moved from personal regulation to team regulation. The tactical pause helps you lead yourself. Setting the emotional weather helps you lead the room. Emotional contagion is real. Your team picks up more than your instructions. They pick up your tone and your pace and your posture, your urgency, and your calm. The best leaders do not ignore pressure. They absorb less of it. They add less to it. And they help everyone around them think more clearly inside it. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Read the room. Adjust the temperature. Set the tone the mission at hand requires. All right. If this episode helps you, please share it with the supervisor who sets the tone for a squad, a shift, a unit, or even an organization. And if you are that supervisor, here's the final challenge. Don't just ask what your team is bringing to work. Ask what emotional weather you are bringing to them. This is Blue Leader Nation. Lead well, stay steady, and remember, the room is always watching.
You've been listening to the Blue Leader Nation podcast. Our passion is anyone within the thin blue line who want to take it to the next level. We hope you didn't mind the dad jokes, by the way. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit the website at www.blueleadernation.com.